Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the finished article. And today it's all things football. So we will be discussing some of the transfer rumours and some of the gossip that is going around, as it says at the bottom there. Before we get into it, I would like you all to hit the like button as much as you can, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments, and also hit the bell notification so you get some notifications when we go live and post videos. I'm going to hand it over to the co-host Shazad, and I'll let him kick off the show.
Yes, bro. How's it going? Hope everyone's well today. As my good friend Shaz has said, we're covering all things football transfer rumors, not just United, but all around the Premier League, and let's see what's happening in Europe as well. And I want to start off with something Shaz brought up yesterday. So, guys, if you haven't seen our videos, please do check them out. So, yesterday we were covering one of the potential rumors on where Haaland was going to end up. And one thing Shaz did allude to was around Chelsea looking to move for Sergio Aguero. This has been announced by ESPN. So if they do go in for Haaland, then Aguero is a potential for Chelsea, which I think is quite interesting because I've just seen Man City play Leicester, and Aguero, I'll be honest with you, didn't really have a lot to do, but I suppose considering the fact that Chelsea don't have an out-and-out number 9, I would definitely say that they need reinforcement. Olivier Giroud, he might be good, but he's not consistent. And who else have they got? Tammy Abraham.
Just touching on that. Sorry. So the rumor is that Chelsea can't afford to get Haaland from Borussia Dortmund. So instead of going for Haaland, they're just going to try and snap up Sergio Aguero on a free, which is a bargain if you ask me. Sergio Aguero, even though he's 32, still a good striker.
Apparently, Pep has come out today and said even they're going to struggle to get Haaland. So Haaland is seeming to be priced out of a move. But we'll touch upon that.
I mean, I think the whole issue with Haaland is it's not Haaland himself or Borussia Dortmund. It's his agent. His agent's just being, he's trying to get the best deal for himself, not the player, which is the way that guy's always worked.
Why don't you tell the viewers who's Haaland's agent?
All right. I mean, with Haaland, Dortmund have said that his release clause of 68 million doesn't actually start or take effect until summer 2022. So they've said they're not even willing to listen to any offers for Haaland. But then you've got his agent who's making the rounds to all the big European clubs trying to get a good deal for him. So I don't understand why this is, I don't understand who to believe here, man.
I think Raiola, Haaland's agent, who coincidentally is also Jesse Lingard and Paul Pogba's agent, has basically came out with a statement a couple of days ago and said he might have been too cautious in moving Haaland to Dortmund. So United were after him at the time, and basically Raiola was like saying, "Listen, mate, you know what? He didn't realize that Haaland was ahead of his potential. He thought Haaland would ease himself in, but he's surpassed expectations, as we all know.
He's absolutely smashed it.
He's absolutely smashed it, and I think whoever gets him, as I mentioned a couple of videos ago, they're in for a ride of a lifetime. Because
of course they are. Of course they are, man. That's a big deal. Now, another rumor I just wanted to touch on is we've got Mo Salah from Liverpool. He's looking at from what I've heard at from ESPN is that he's eyeing a future somewhere else away from Liverpool. And saying that, I think it's the right time for him to move on. He's done all he can at Liverpool. I mean, he's won the Champions League. He's won the Premier League. What else can he do at Liverpool that's bigger than that?
I don't necessarily think it's a case of Mo Salah actually wanting to leave Liverpool because he doesn't like it there. I think he's looking for a fresh challenge. So he's been there.
That's what I mean. Yeah. There's nothing else for him at Liverpool. I mean, he's won everything he can at Liverpool, or everything he wanted to win at Liverpool. I think this time is the best to move on.
you remember he signed for Chelsea, I think 5-6 years ago. It didn't work out for him there, so he went to Roma, absolutely smashed it in Italy, and then Liverpool saw him and snapped him up. So
Yeah,
since he's
take that.
come back, he's been a revelation, absolute genius of player. Although as a United fan, I'd have to say that I hate to say it, but he's an absolute gem of a player.
No,
And
he is. He's a good player. You gotta give credit where it's due.
absolutely,
Last season, Liverpool had the best season they've ever had, and they won't top that. They won't win the Premier League again for a couple. I'm hoping more than 25 years. This time.
yeah. I mean, I think for me, I think it's best that Liverpool cash in on him now, and I believe that
Yeah,
Real
of
Madrid
course.
are also looking for him now. A bit of context: Real Madrid have been in a downward spiral for the last couple
Since
of years
Ronaldo
under
left.
Zidane. Uh, for
Yeah.
me, for me, Gareth Bale is a perfectly good example of someone who's basically just been sat on the books. Now he's at Tottenham right now, but he's
Mm.
openly come out and said that he's using it as a training exercise to get fit for Euro 2021, which is embarrassing. And I think Real
Yeah.
Madrid basically have just because they
I mean,
priced him out of the move. That's the problem.
I don't think it's the priced him out of a move. I think he doesn't want. He
Well,
wasn't getting the
let me
game
break it
time.
down.
He wasn't
Let me,
getting the game time at Real Madrid,
let me
and he
clarify.
knew
So
the Euros were coming up, and we've got the World Cup next year. So he wants to be playing, at the Euros. He wants to be playing at the World Cup. So he needs to be playing club football regularly to
I, th-
to
I
get a
think
foot in.
I think the bigger problem, as Shaz alluded to, is the fact that his transfer wage and budget is out of reach of a lot of clubs. So his agent Jonathan Barnett has come out and said that he's open to a move, but why would he want to move from Real Madrid when he can play golf, taking away, sit on the bench? The problem is
That's
no
the
other club
problem.
is going to pay.
The problem is that players would happily sit on the bench and collect a wage than actually play football, which is what they get paid to do. That's the problem in football. They get paid what 100,000, 200, 300,000, 300,000 a week to sit on a bench and do nothing for their club. And then they're happy to do that. They're happy to just sit on the bench and collect a wage and do nothing for their club, which is the problem with football. That there's too much money thrown at footballers. There's too much money thrown at them to do nothing. They should only get a wage. So the way I think they should have a basic wage. Let's call it minimum wage, right? So
Minimum wage.
that's what they get for being on the bench, right? But or for being in the club. But then when they actually come onto the pitch, they get their full wage. So let's say Gareth Bale, what he's on about £200,000 a week. Let's say,
Yeah,
okay. Now let's say he gets three. Let's say he gets £50,000 for being in the squad, right? So every week he gets £50,000 a week, but he only gets the full 300,000 that he should be getting when he's actually playing on the pitch. That's
I
the way football should be. There's
I
too
I,
much money
I,
in footballers' pockets than there shouldn't be, bro.
I think we're delving into territory that we all know we hate to talk about,
Nah, nah. Let's talk about it, bro. It's got to be talked about.
but no,
It's one of those things that's ruining football. Money
but
is ruining football, and
Shaz,
that's the truth, bro.
Shaz, you've got to realize that it's a number of combination of things. So it's the TV revenue that's going into it, and it's the fact that us poor fans are actually putting money into these players' wages. So let's be honest,
Yeah.
if we didn't turn up to football matches, they don't get paid. If we don't,
Nah, but you can't say that though, bro. You can't say that because this whole year no one's turned up to football matches and they're still getting paid.
yeah, this is an exception. This is the
Nah, but
but look at the TV revenue. Look at the fact that every
the
single
TV revenue has gone up because more games are on TV.
yeah
So clubs are getting more. They're getting more money because fans aren't turning up because more matches are on TV.
yeah
So it's a win-win for clubs. They're still getting money whether fans are turning up to the stadium or not.
no, that's true. That is true. And here's an interesting one that I picked up from La Parisine that PSG are considering letting Kylian Mbappe leave this summer with talks
Yeah,
of his
I've read that.
contract continuing to stall. It'd be interesting to see where Mbappe does end up because I think, as you can quite testify, so we've had the era of Messi and Ronaldo, and I think
Hmm.
now we're moving to the era of Mbappe and Haaland. So I think it'd be exciting if they were both in the Premier League. Who can anyone afford them? That's the major question. And I think one transfer rumor I wanted to pick up. I don't know if you've seen it, Shaz. So
Mm.
Man United and Chelsea are both keen on a move for Real Madrid's winger Lucas
Yeah,
Vazquez. And I
Lucas
think,
Vasquez,
yeah,
good player, very good player.
and I think from United's perspective, I mean, talking about them, considering the fact that we need a right winger and we don't exactly have anyone in that position, I think that
Yeah,
would be a move in the right direction. Whether that actually materializes or not depends on the boys at the top, i.e., the Glazers and Woodward, whether they can
yeah,
actually pull it off.
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, there's another rumor I wanted to touch on that it's been reported in Portugal that English representatives of Manchester United have actually offered Alex Telles to Sporting in a swap deal for left back Nuno Mendes.
Yeah,
With Man United, what they want to beat Man City to the signing of Nuno Mendes. So Sporting the rumor is Sporting have said yes, we'll take Tellez, but we want 40 million as well for Mendes. So a player plus 40 million.
how old is this Mendes?
Mendes is I don't actually. Oh, sorry, 18-year-old.
So hold on. You want to pay 40 million for an 18-year-old that hasn't proved himself out?
But it's not just 40 million. They're swapping a player. Um, he's actually getting. Sporting would also require United to, I don't know what this means. Sporting would also require part coverage of Mendes's otherwise unaffordable 4 million per season net salary, which equates to 77,000 euros a week, which to United is nothing because most of the players get paid more than that anyway.
Crikey, that's an interesting one. We'll have to see how that one pans out.
So another part of that rumor is that the English representative at United who is in negotiations with Sporting for Mendes, was the key person in the negotiation to sign Bruno Fernandes.
Hmm.
So if everything goes as it should, that's really good for United. Now Telles, we only got from Porto last summer, and
Yeah,
he only cost us like 17 million.
he was brought in basically because Luke Shaw needed
Hmm.
competition, and actually, what it's done is, and I'm glad it happened because it's given Luke Shaw a kick up the backside, and he's having
Yeah,
one
he's
of
had
his
a good
best
season
seasons,
this season, bro.
one of his best seasons so far at United and England as well.
Mm,
And
definitely, definitely he has.
you know what, that's what I said. We always need room for competition. I mean, if
Yeah,
players are just
definitely, bro.
playing, if they're not playing for their places, then the motivation tends to drop. Um,
Yeah.
so it'd be interesting to see how that goes.
So I mean, I can see there are a couple of viewers on at the moment. So drop some comments. Let us know what you think, or if there's any rumors that you've heard. Let us know. We'll talk about them right now. We'll get your comments straight away, and we'll pop it on the screen down there at the bottom, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, the other rumor is Man United are actually trying to sign Icardi from PSG,
Mario
which
Kart.
to me means Cavani won't be staying. If United are looking for a striker, if they need another striker, Cavani won't be staying.
I think Icardi is a sick player, and I
Hmm.
know he's done well well in Italy before he went to PSG. I think he was at AC Milan. Uh,
He was.
and for me, I think he's one of the top strikers. For me, Cavani, I love the guy. I think he's been a class act since he's joined United, but I think
You mean
he's getting
Cavani? Yeah.
on with his injuries. Uh, and it'd be interesting, but I wouldn't be one that's going to be opposed to that. I mean, one other rumor that I've read um, related to that is the fact that they're going to try and look to do a swap deal for Martial. So
Yeah,
it
I've heard
depends
that
on
as well.
Martial. It depends on Martial performance. So no, by the way, I have nothing against Martial. But I don't really think he's a number 9. I think he's more of a winger slash attacker. I wouldn't call him a centre forward because he doesn't have the build for it. He doesn't have the stature for it, and I definitely think
Who are we talking about here? Martial, sorry.
Martial, yeah.
All right, sorry. Yeah, I thought you were talking about Cardi. Then I'm like,
No, no, no,
what's going on here?
yeah, and but it'd be interesting. And I know that Everton basically have been in talks with Juve because they
Yes,
want to bring Moise Kean back from PSG. So effectively, Moise Kean was a Juve player who then went to Everton in the summer of 2019 for 27 million. Unfortunately, he didn't settle down at not PSG, sorry, he didn't settle down at Everton. And they sent him on loan to PSG, and he's been having an absolute baller of a season.
yes,
And I think
yes.
Juve now are looking to bring him back. I mean, for me, I think Moise Kean is a good player, but I think just his stature meant he wasn't exactly at the right club.
Hmm.
Now, interesting. I don't know if you picked up on this. Harry Kane, Jose Mourinho believes that Harry Kane is happy with his situation for a club and country, despite speculation
Is
around
he?
his move.
Is he though?
No, I've got to be honest.
I doubt that's
Harry
true.
Kane wants
I
to
doubt
move,
Harry Kane is happy with never winning the Premier League.
well, no, if he wants to be considered world class, as you just said, he's got to be able to move to a top club
Yeah,
that's within a shout of winning titles.
exactly.
And I think his injury record isn't as bad as people make out. So he gets injured, but I think that's because Tottenham are relying on him too much. Whereas a lot of the bigger teams like United, the Cities, they have the style of play to accommodate his needs and keep him up front because that's what his job
Yeah.
is, to strike and provide for the others around to hold the ball up. But that's my take on it.
No, no, you're definitely right. Again, with Harry Kane, if he wants to win, if he wants to win a Premier League or if he wants to win something in his career before he retires, he needs to leave Tottenham. Fair enough. He started at Tottenham. He made his name at Tottenham. Let's call it that. Um, and he's being loyal to Tottenham. Like, let's be
Yeah.
honest, he's being loyal to Tottenham right now. But if he wants to move, so if he wants a trophy before he retires, he needs to go to a big club, a bigger club than Tottenham.
Absolutely. And I hear that West Ham also want to sign Tammy Abraham from Chelsea, but there's a bit of to and fro because
Mm,
Chelsea don't want to sell him now. The funny thing is, Chelsea, if they want to fund and move for a new striker, I think they've got to look to move some of their players on. But it'd be interesting
yeah,
to see where Tammy Abraham ends up.
I mean, a rumor is that Inter Milan actually want to keep Romelu Lukaku, but it doesn't say the name of the club, but there's a bit. It looks like someone's going to be bidding 102 million pound for Lukaku. Now that is a high bid for a player like Lukaku. He's been playing well at Inter, so the price tag is that high because of his performances. But if I was Inter, I'd cash in on that. 102 million, you can get a lot of other good players for 102 million.
Well, I think if they're gonna look to get rid of Lukaku, I think the only
Mm,
reason they would do that is because of their debt crisis that they're in right now. So for me, I
yeah,
think Lukaku, absolute top notch striker. I think the problem with him at United was that the style of play was slightly different, so we didn't necessarily play to his strengths. I didn't really want to see him go, but you know what? Fair play to the guy. He's proven that he's a top notch striker, and it'd be interesting to see where he ends up now. I've heard rumors that Man City are also looking to bring him back, or even
yeah.
Chelsea. So Chelsea said if they can't bring Haaland in, then
Hmm.
the merry-go-round will be that he'll end up back at Chelsea. But we'll have to see how developments
We'll have to
go.
see how that.
Yeah,
Now, something interesting that I've read about is Memphis Depay,
uh,
the former United player. He's actually going to be a free agent this summer. He
yeah.
hasn't been
Barca,
offered a new contract, and
mm,
he's going to be a free agent. Now, Barcelona are favourites to sign him,
yeah,
but Liverpool are trying to make a last ditch effort to actually get him.
yes, I've heard. Yeah,
That's quite crazy. That's mad, mad. Liverpool aren't going to be further in their pursuit of Haaland, um, but it says Chelsea remain the most likely English club to get Haaland, which I believe is incorrect. Dortmund want at least 150 million euros, which is 128 million pound for Haaland, which would make him the third most expensive player of all time, behind Neymar and well Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah,
So the other rumours I've got here, I've got Harry Kane is staying at Tottenham this summer. Um, so the reason for them saying that is that Tottenham won't let him join another Premier League club. They don't want him to join a rival club, um, and they don't expect another European team to offer 175 million that they want for him. Which let's talk about that. 175 million for Harry Kane. How can you justify 175 million for Harry Kane? What's he done for Tottenham besides score goals? He hasn't won them the Premier League. He hasn't won them the Champions League. What's he done to warrant him 175 million pound, bro?
let me
That's
answer,
absurd.
let me answer that in 2 words. Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy basically is pricing this guy. Okay, let me counter your argument. Harry Kane, brilliant striker, done it for
Mhm.
England, done it for Spurs. The problem is Spurs do not have a good enough team to win the title. So, as
Yeah,
much as I agree with what you're saying, he's never going to be able to win that team a title because their defense is shocking. I mean, any defense that has Eric Dyer in their side is not going to succeed. And for me, they need reinforcement in defense and midfield before they can even consider thinking about contending. Yes, they were top of the Premier League back in December, but that was more a case of other teams were dropping points at that time, as opposed to them actually being consistent.
yeah, no, of course. So just two more little pieces of information I wanted to go through. So Arsenal's 23-year-old Maitland Niles is expected to leave Arsenal after his loan spell at West Brom. And the other one that I wanted to talk about is Everton's fullback, Thierry Small, 16-year-old. He's a 16-year-old. He's willing to turn down a 3-year professional deal with Everton to pursue first team opportunities elsewhere with clubs such as United, Arsenal, Brighton, and Brentford among some of the teams that are actually interested in him.
Yeah,
16-year-old fullback, which, it's always good to see clubs after, young talent. It's good to see
absolutely.
that there is some still young talent out there, at clubs like Everton and places like that.
No, absolutely. I don't disagree with you. And I think it'd be interesting to see where he ends up. But guys, please leave a like, subscribe, and some
Yeah,
comments below. I think that's going to be a wrap for this video today. We
yeah,
will be coming forward with more content in the next couple of days. Stay tuned. But
mhm.
until then, for myself, have a good evening and we'll catch up soon.
Yep, no problem. Thanks very much, everyone, for tuning in, and see you again.